I'll replace my single tap kegerator with a 3-tap 3-keg kegerator. If you'd like to see more about it, stick around. Hello and welcome back. I've had my old kegerator, my old single tap kegerator that held basically 2 Coney kegs in it, but with only 1 tap for about over maybe a decade now. And I've always regretted that decision. I've always had problems with the draft tower. For those of you who don't know, I personally think draft tower kegerators are terrible because the beer in the tower is never as cold as the beer in the fridge, and the first pour, the first beer is always foamy and warmer than the subsequent pours. Well, I've been wanting to fix that for a while, and I've gotten more into home brewing, as you know, from my YouTube channel and brewing beer more often and things. I've had a sort of a backlog of beers, which isn't a problem. It's a minor problem because I only had 1 tap, but now that I have a 3-tap system I just bought, that bottleneck kind of opened up where I can actually have more beers in rotation and some on the end of their life cycle and some new ones ready to come on, right? So it was time to upgrade. So a few months ago, probably back in the springtime, I decided to get a new kegerator, but I had some requirements. I wanted to make sure if I got another kegerator, it would fit behind my bar here, right? So I had a certain fixed space that I have to work with, which really restricted me to, unfortunately, another draft tower system. And I just said I don't like draft tower systems, but it is what it is. The space what I have is what I have. I can't get a top opening Keyser or a small chest freezer because I can't open the lid because the countertop here would block it from being opened. I was stuck with another draft tower system. So I went out there and looked around, and I actively looked for, well, that's a good word to use, actively, because I was looking for an active cooling system for a draft tower kegerator system out there, and there really aren't a whole lot out there. The only one I've been able to find that actually promoted and advertised the ability to chill a tower was one by Kegland. Their Series 4 is what I ended up buying here. So off here, off to my left, your lower right, I guess, is my new kegerator. It fit my old space. I got 3 taps on it. It fits 3 kegs and has an active chilled draft tower, which was a mandatory or a requirement of mine when I was looking to upgrade. I've had this thing for several months now, and I'm ready to get around to showing you what I did. I apologize for not doing this sooner, but it's been a really crazy summer for me. So you want to see more about this kegerator and what I did to improve it? Stick around and I'll show you what I did. All right, behind the bar. So let's take a look here, shall we? So here we are, just showing the outside of the fridge here. It's bigger than my old fridge, and I had plenty of space behind the bar here to fit it in, but you can see I didn't have any ability to open this with a top loading fridge type. So I definitely had to get a kegerator, and that barely fit in here too because there was this counter was in the way a lot. But this fridge is pretty cool. It's kind of hard to get a good video of it here, but it's the Kegland Series 4, right? And what I like about it is the digital thermostat on there because my old one just had a little dial knob. And also what I like about this is the fan button over here, which is shown here, so I can turn off the fan to the tower, turn on the fan to the tower, and inside here, inside the tower is a tube that's blowing cold air up into the tower. So that's why I got this system ultimately. It was the only one out there in the market that actually did that. Now on the inside, it's a little hard to see here because it's dark behind here, but I got room here for 3 kegs. Got a spot right there for one, but I just finished one, so I got 2 new ones in here. This is my Oktoberfest beer, ready for Oktoberfest, and so there's plenty of hoses in there. One of the first things I did was replace the hosing or the tubing that came with it. It was this 5mm plastic tubing that's popular outside the US, but here in the US. I like my 5/16 gas line and my 3/16 bev line tubing personally, so I replaced it with those, and I had to drill a hole in the back of the fridge in order to fit the larger tubing through there, but that was no big deal. I also installed this three valve manifold in here to split the gas into 3 different lines, so that works out really great, because now I can control the pressure on each of the lines with my Gov Reg regulators, which are attached to the end of every single one of these gas inputs on the keg, so I can adjust the pressure individually to each of the kegs, which I really love. Those Gov Reg regulators are awesome. If you haven't seen my video on that, go check it out too after you watch this video, but the space in the top of this fridge is pretty precious, and I didn't want to have big bulky secondary regulators for each one of my kegs back there. So if you're pressed for space and you want the convenience of having a small compact secondary regulator, go check out the Gov Reg stuff. It is awesome. And now back to our regular programming. So the draft tower, you can see here, it's stainless steel. I actually did a little bit behind the scenes here where I put a little foam on top here as a little extra padding, but basically there's 3 taps all crammed in there. It's tight for space, but it's not impossible, as you can see. So let me put that back in there. Put that back on for now. And the faucets, I bought 3 flow control faucets with it. So you can see there's one here with the little handle up and down that to unrestrict flow, to fully restrict the flow, and anywhere in between. You really should not be dependent upon these all on their own for controlling foam. You definitely want to have a long enough beer line to have a somewhat balanced system to optimize your performance and avoid foam and maximize your pour rate. I did another video on that topic a while back on my channel, so go check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. And here's one thing I did. I actually swapped out on my last beer, which was a Helles lager, which I did a couple videos on, my quick lager too. I had a bit of a hard time pouring it with the flow control faucet style, and the more I cranked it down, the more foam it gave me, which is the opposite of what you'd think. And it turns out there was maybe just something wrong with that one faucet, so I yanked it out and put on my old original Intertap faucet with the spring inside. I also did a video on this one too, so go check that out. But now it pours smooth and straight again. So I'm just saying, flow control faucets aren't the greatest things in sliced bread as some of you might think they are. They actually do require a little bit of knowledge as to how to best use them, and a balanced draft system as well. So another upgrade is that I replaced the tap handles that came with it with these nice, really nice custom handles by a company called Design Your Tap. They're up in Wisconsin, which is just across the state line from me here in Illinois, but they made these up for me. These are like the black erase whiteboards, and that's not chalk, that's like a dry erase chalk pen that writes on there really good. And I have them on both sides of the tap, so if I unscrew the tap here, you see it on both sides. So if you're in front of the bar, the person says, "Hey, pour me up a whatchamacallit," or they say, "What do you have on tap?" They don't have to ask you that question, because only the bartender sees the words. You see the words too as a patron, and say, "Hey, I'll have some of that Oktoberfest on the right or left or whatever," and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll go up and pour one up here for you," and you go up and come up here and you pour it up for them. So these tap handles are awesome. There's different styles that you can, like different woods, different things. I just gave them my BEER-N-BBQ logo, and they went ahead and just put it on there and and I asked for the black chalk, not the whiteboard whiteness, and I just like this look better. So that's just my own personal choice, but I think those taps are awesome. So if you're interested in those, I'll put a link down below to their website, and you can go check it out yourself. Another thing I like about these faucets is that you can remove these nozzles. So these nozzles screw off, right? So the nozzles that come with it are just a regular smooth nozzles, right? I also bought a hose barb nozzle that screws on, and you can put on, I think, a 1/2-inch ID hose right onto the barb here, and I use this for filling up my growlers. See, let me see if I can do this one-handed. So I cut a length of 1/2-inch tubing, like yay long, and I can put this on one-handed, basically, right? And then I can take my growler of any size or shape or whatever, and I can just fill it up to the bottom of the growler so that it pours from the bottom up and doesn't foam up right away. Right, so that's awesome. I mean, I do that a lot nowadays, thanks to this. Also, you can put on another nozzle that I have. I'll show you that in just a second here. Take off these. And another one I got just very recently is the ball lock disconnect version. So this goes on, right? And now I can use this in a jumper cable, which I have to fill up smaller kegs, so I can just snap on. Well, here, I'll just show you that. All right, so here I have a disconnect and a hose, right? I can come up here and just pop it on like that, right? So now I can open my spigot and put the other end on a smaller keg that I can put in my mobile draft system, which I have a video on if you want to know how I did that. I'll put that link to that below as well. And it's also good for cleaning the lines, because I can actually use a spare keg with some cleaning solution and some sanitizer and rinse water, and one at a time that is, and go through and connect the bev line from the keg to here, and I can take this off when I'm done and just move it to the next one and the next one to clean it up. So, and I just did that recently and it worked great. So this was totally worth the extra money. I should have got this along with the taps originally, but didn't think I needed it until now, and I don't know what I'd do without it because I love it. So there you go, folks. That's what I like about my Kegerator. It is flexible, it's bigger, it can do more, it looks nicer, and I really like these tap handles. I think it's the best part of the Kegerator, honestly. And that's my new Kegerator. I've had it for several months, been using it, been mainly satisfied with it. I did have a problem with one of the flow control faucets causing foam, not helping foam. That was kind of an interesting thing I have to look into more. I actually just went back and put on an old Intertap faucet with the spring-loaded type on there without the flow control, and solved it. So flow control faucets aren't always the answer. It seems sometimes they seem to cause problems, as I've discovered. But otherwise, overall, great system, great fridge, right? If you like the video, give me that thumbs up. Much appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments, put them, of course, in the comments section for me, please. And if you're a new viewer and not yet subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel. I do home brewing videos, cooking videos, and other things. Just pick on the subscribe button down below and ring the bell next to it if you want to be notified of my future videos. And other than that, I'll talk to you all later. See ya. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out other videos on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe.